What in God's holy name are you blathering about?
Thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate you stopping by and giving your attention my way. I had a nap today, and I woke up, and I realized it was, as I'm recording this, it is in fact the 23rd of November. And I kind of shook my head, shake the cobwebs out. I still got this headache. Haven't been able to shake that. But I shake the cobwebs out. The 23rd of November, that's an anniversary date for Doctor Who. That's one of my favorite shows. It was one of my favorite shows. It slipped by me. Normally that wouldn't happen. It certainly says I'm not a fan anymore. I've lost interest. I've lost track. I've lost patience. I saw the inaugural episode for the new era. It was started off by Chris Chibnall as the showrunner, with Jodie Whittaker playing the Doctor, who is now known, lovingly referred to, as Dr. Karen. Thank you to Gary Beekler of Nerdrotic. It's not something I find entertaining. That one episode, no. The reviews of subsequent episodes, the last 2 seasons, I find a lot in common with some of the people who are also fans of Doctor Who and don't like what's going on now. Nerdrotic, and what's another one? Oh, Critical Drinker. Yeah. Doomcock, Critical Drinker, Gary from Nerdrotic, Az from Heel versus Babyface, Neon and Geeky Sparkles from Clownfish TV. I don't like it. I agree with them. I hear what they have to say, and I align with their comments. I align with their opinions. I think what they say. Now, if I don't see it, I can't share the opinion. I can take their word, and I do. I've taken their word generally for other things, and we do seem to align fairly well. We seem to understand the show in a similar way. I pay attention to that. And I don't have any interest in watching what's going on now. Maybe in the way of seeing a train wreck. And maybe I may have a differing opinion if I were to see some of these other episodes. I don't get that impression, but maybe one of these days I will check out further episodes. I don't like what's been going on, though. What's been said, and what I really don't like, I don't need to see the show to know this. When the showrunner, when the lead actor, fellow cast members, other cast members and crew members, other key fans, journalists, television reviewers, people who run certain websites or moderate certain websites, when there is opinions that those who don't like it are ists and phobes, I take a real dim view of that. I take a real dim view of that. It's the sort of thing that happens all too often. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, in the extreme. I remember when the series had the new series, the new incarnation of the series, had started off. Series 11, is that it? Yeah, Series 11. Earlier this year, or last year, was season 12. The next will be the 13th. The 13th for the 13th Doctor. So season 1 for Jodie Whittaker, just to get it as confusing as possible. It's one of the things they're doing with the DVDs. Past Doctors, they're talking season 1, season 2, season 3, based on somebody new being the Doctor. So you can get it all confused thanks to fans and thanks in some ways to people who make the show. Just as a side note, at one of the 50th anniversary 7 years ago, there was a delightful discovery, simply added at the time. It's never been. It was only a secret as of when it was created, when it was originated, when they were making the 50th anniversary. By the way, there was another Doctor you didn't know about. He was in between this one and that one. in between the 8th and the 9th. So wait a minute. Is the 8th with the next one 8 plus 8.5 and then 9? Or does that new one become the 9th and the 9th Doctor becomes the 10th and the 10th? Well, see, there's another thing, because there's 2 regenerations taken by the 10th Doctor. Enough! I shouldn't have to do that much math. It gets that confusing. Anyway, so Jodie's first season 11 of the new series, season 11 of the old series, was also John Pertwee. It's delightful on how you can confuse yourself and other fans. Jodie Whittaker, who's lovingly referred to as the 13th Doctor, who we refer to as Dr. Karen. She was starting out, and there was some publicity stills for her, and the way the woke attitude of the show and the people supporting it and the people in it were well, they were a little cranky, and the best way to deal with those folks who are cranky is the same way you deal with people in your life. You tease them. You make fun of them. You just do a little mocking. You know, you don't call in question their birthright. You're going to do that. I took a picture.
And if there's one thing I'm certain of, when people need help, I never refuse. When people need help, I never refuse. When people need help, I never refuse.
I thought it was funny. Sure, I thought it was funny. I'm inclined to think it was funny. I feel that way, and I'm probably one of that group. Well, a guy I know who's also a member of that group publicly berated me on social media. How dare you? How dare you politicize the show, our show? Hey, Pally, I don't know if you realize this, but the people making the show are the ones that are politicizing the show. So think about that for a little while and swivel on it, okay?
You go home and get your shine box.
Love you. Mean it. Because that's exactly what it was. It was all this talk about the male gaze and about time and blah, 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 blah. Turning it into something that it wasn't. Turning the series into a social project. Screw yourself. The show has never been that quick to demonize its own fans. And it's not a male opinion. There are female opinions, certainly noticeably loud, and non-white fan opinions that say the same thing. Why are you demonizing the fans? And then those women and non-white people, we're actually talking like that? We're actually talking non-white, right? They were accused of being white supremacists and misogynists and racists and ists and phobes and all sorts. The very people that you're claiming to protect include people who don't like the show. Women, black folks, gay folks, trans folks, fans. Please don't demonize the fans. The show's done some social subjects before, but never so cruel, never really condemning. It's really not that way. The show's British. The show's left-wing. Pretty left-wing. So if your claim to us fans, me in particular, is, well, you never complained before. Well, one, I wouldn't say complain, but yeah, it had been mentioned before. I had remarked about it, but it was always, I think it always was before. It was generally what's the word I want to use? An analogy. And Star Trek's done the same thing, where they've had issues, but they never flip off the audience. So, well, obviously you must be a racist because you're taking issue with it and you're complaining and stamping your feet and crying. Well, not really stamping my feet, but I am taking issue with it, that's for sure. and defining racist and white supremacist and ists and phobes as, well, obviously you must be, so you are. Thank you for your reasoning, folks. Why don't you go back and hit the drawing board, and while you're there, hit the drawing board and rewrite some of your episodes. Good Lord. It's sad. It's so sad. It's the folks when you tell them, and I did tell a couple of them, hey, it's the party of tolerance and diversity. They're hoping that we die. We don't tolerate intolerance. Okay, so your intolerance is directed in the right way. So if somebody else doesn't like that, they can claim to be. You do realize you're making a whirlpool, a vortex that goes downwards. You're not doing well rhetorically. So you don't want certain people to be fans of your stuff. Well, okay. Mission accomplished. How can it be so easy for, maybe it isn't easy, but it has been done before. A variety of folks seem to be fans of Firefly. This is before Joss went crazy, or maybe before he revealed he was unhinged. But Firefly, created and generally written by a atheist who covers the subject of faith with respect and concern, and doesn't say these people are all idiots. In fact, the main character in the cast, in the crew of the ship, the characters, Shepherd Book, they're all fantastic. They're all, without a doubt, fantastic characters in Firefly. Book is no idiot. In fact, he's extremely smart and manages to keep his mouth shut on his background. It's kind of murky, but I think we know exactly what kind of a character he is. But he's a strict man of faith, and with a strong moral code. And he's not an idiot. He's a man to be respected. And the show, I suppose, could be seen in a way that libertarian political philosophy takes a look at that and said, that's our show. I don't think it was written for libertarians, and I'd be very surprised if Joss Whedon even liked libertarians as far as a political ally. But if libertarians can go, hey, this is our show, it's certainly not painting them badly. And I think even conservatives, I know conservatives like that show. And I happen to know liberals that like that show, and socialists, and potentially Marxists, and libertarians and conservatives, and moderates. It happens to be a show that crosses political lines. Now, did Joss specifically say, I want to hit all everyone on the political spectrum? Probably not. I think he just wanted to write the show that he had in mind. And some of the subject matter lends itself much more directly with the political libertarians and certain conservatives as well, but just as easily, it's a subject that can be embraced by folks on the liberal end of the spectrum. Now, either it's easy or he put the right amount of work into it. You can do it. What does not work for us is the fact that it was a one-season deal. Couldn't have been that good, right? It was, and it has a long, long line of fans that would stand around the block to see cast members and, see the show come back if it was able to come back properly. And I don't think that it would be. So let's ignore the fact that it only lasted one season. It's got legions of fans. That should make up for it. Back to the point, either it was very difficult to write or it was easy to not piss people off. Maybe it's just now too old, but Doctor Who is 57 years old today. Star Trek is a little bit behind that. Blake Seven, X-Files, Babylon 5. These shows generally have fans that cross the political spectrum to one extent or another. And they don't piss off their fans. This is a new phenomenon, at least to the intensity that it is in the current year, at least in the intensity of the response of the fans. You don't like Star Trek Discovery? Well, you hate black people. You don't want black people to be... Whoa, 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 whoa. We've been here before already with... Look, don't tell me, a Star Trek fan, that we don't like black people in positions of authority, when the best example you've got is Commander goddamn M-effing Cisco. As Razorfist would say, the Cisco. We're doing pretty good appreciating that series and that character. Do we have to go find another, what's the term today? The POC, the people of color? Do we have to go look for another peoples of colors to say what we like to go improve something? Look, I just like the show. And the characters that are good, I love. I question the reflexive finger-pointing with ist and phobe written on the side of it. Generally, when you point your finger, because your plans fell through, you got 3 more fingers pointing at you. Why does everything that disagrees with you got to be couched in terms that it's hateful? See, this is where the problem is. Technically, it's not with Doctor Who. It's the people involved or the people around it that can't allow a differing opinion, a dissenting opinion, a conflicting opinion. May Doctor Who producers treat the fans the way we deserve to be treated. Here's the giveaway. Here's the secret. And this could be done by Star Trek, Star Wars, Bond, especially for any kind of franchise that's gone on long enough in the cast and or crew change significantly. New faces, new actors, new so on and so forth. Here's how you do it. We've been in the game for a while, and when you've got a legacy like this, it's a curse and a blessing, and we don't really say the word curse lightly and easily. For lack of a better term, it's a curse because it's very difficult to please all the people all the time. We hope to be breathing new life into it, and we hope to maintain the connection to what made it great in the first place and in all of those years before us. It is a true responsibility to the stories, to the characters, to the people who have made this work before, and to the fans who loved it for so many years. And maybe it doesn't click and resonate with you the way that we want it to. That's happened before. And fans have come back. Maybe in another episode, or another season, or another era, and another year, and another time. And we hope it never happens that they don't ever come back. We have faith that you will. And if our era, if our particular slice doesn't work for you, we do hope you come back when the next crew comes along. Because that's how much faith we have in the general franchise, the general property as a whole. And we have faith in the fans that we share fandom with. We're not just the makers. We're the fans as well. And we know there's more that has you in mind. Hang tight. Give us a little bit of patience. And we hope it pays off. And we don't want you to... We hope you give it to us gently, but between the eyes, and with care and affection. We don't ever want you to stop talking. We just hope that you say it in a way that we can get the message best and keep everything moving in the right direction. Of course, they don't need to say word for word that. Something to that effect. Treat the audience with respect. All of that for a show about a time travel in a wooden box. You're not going to win. You're not going to win new fans. You're not going to win the old fans. And you're not going to win the argument. Is that a fight you want to take? Thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate you checking out my rant and ramble. Until next time, folks, I hope you come back, and I hope we have some more to talk about. You folks take care.